Hello, I'm Auntie Riri. This is my friend Captain. And today we are going to read Sammy Spider's first Rosh Hashanah. Written by Sylvia Rosh, illustrated by Catherine Janice Kahn. Sammy's spider dangled from a silky strand of webbing near the big picture window in the Shapiro's living room. "Look, Mother," he said, pointing with one leg. "Here comes the mail carrier with more cards for the Shapiros." "Why has she been delivering so many cards this week?" "Can you see the mail carrier? Where is she? What is she doing with the cards?" Mrs. Spider looked lovingly at Sammy. "Soon the Shapiros will celebrate Rosh Hashanah," she replied. "Those cards are from family and friends who are wishing them a Shana Tova, a Happy New Year." "Will we get cards too?" Sammy asked hopefully. "Silly little Sammy," answered Mrs. Spider. "Spiders don't celebrate Rosh Hashanah. Spiders spin webs." Which reminds me, our web is getting a little crowded. When you were born, we lived in a small web. Now our web is middle-sized. But you grew so much over the summer that we need to spin a large one. Sammy wasn't paying attention. He was hanging above the shelf watching Mr. Shapiro display the new cards. They were all different sizes. "How many cards do you see?" "Some were large, some were middle-sized, and some were small." "Aren't they beautiful, Mother?" Sammy sighed. But before Mrs. Spider could answer, Sammy scurried across the ceiling into the Shapiro's kitchen. Mrs. Shapiro and Josh were kneading dough and shaping it into circles. "What are they doing now?" he called to his mother. "They're making round challahs for Rosh Hashanah," she answered. "Mrs. Shapiro is making a large challah for the family, a middle-sized challah for the neighbors, and Josh is making a small challah for himself." "Can we make challah too?" Sammy asked. "Silly little Sammy," laughed his mother. "Spiders don't need dough. Spiders spin webs." "So how many challah do you see? Can you count them?" The next morning, Sammy woke to a chopping sound in the kitchen. Mr. Shapiro was slicing apples. Big red ones, middle-sized yellow ones, and small green ones. "Can you count how many green apples there are?" Nearby, Josh was filling bowls with honey. 3 bowls with honey. There was a large bowl for Mr. Shapiro, a middle-sized bowl for Mrs. Shapiro, and a small bowl for himself. "What color are those bowls?" Mrs. Spider came over to Sammy. "Rosh Hashanah begins tonight," she explained. At dinner, the Shapiros will dip apples into honey for a sweet new year. Can we dip apples too? Asked Sammy. Silly little Sammy, replied Mrs. Spider. Spiders don't dip apples. Spiders spin webs. What do you see on the table? The next morning, everyone got dressed up to go to the synagogue. Mr. Shapiro put on his big gray coat. Mrs. Shapiro wore her middle-sized red coat, and Josh put on his small blue jacket. I can't wait for the rabbi to blow the shofar, Josh exclaimed as they left the house. Josh and his family are going to services, Mrs. Spider whispered to Sammy. The rabbi will blow the shofar to welcome the new year. Can we go too? Asked Sammy. Silly little Sammy, answered Mrs. Spider, shaking her head. Spiders don't go to synagogue. Spiders spin webs. Come help me spin our new, larger web. So where's the shofar? Instead, Sammy swung down to the kitchen counter and crawled toward the bowl of apples. What do you think he's going to do now? In his excitement, he stepped in a drop of spilled honey. All of a sudden, he couldn't move. His 8 little legs were stuck, and he struggled to free himself. How do you think Sammy feels right now? Help, Mother, he cried. The honey won't let go of me. Mrs. Spider lowered herself on a strand of webbing to try to pull Sammy free. She pulled and pulled and pulled until she had to catch her breath. Sammy began to cry. As he bent his face to wipe away the tears, a drop of honey got into his mouth, and it tasted sweet. Sammy took a little swallow, then a middle-sized swallow, soon he was taking great big swallows of honey. Before he knew it, he wasn't stuck anymore. Sometimes you can find creative ways to solve problems. Mrs. Spider scooped Sammy up and held him close. He still felt a little sticky. See, Mother, he said, spiders can have a sweet new year. All you have to do is dip me in honey. Mrs. Spider hugged Sammy closer. The Shapiros can celebrate a sweet new year, she laughed, but I'm just happy to have a sweet you near. The end. Hope you liked the book. I love you very much.